Recording. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me make sure my screen's shared. So present your entire screen. Let's do screen one. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Anu? Cool. All right. Hide this. Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Quick Lunch and Learn. I was playing around with Go modules last weekend, and I was really happy with what I saw. So I went ahead and decided to do this. So basically, um, just to give a quick history of Go, it didn't have any, it has the concept of packages, which are folders with Go files in them. And uh, there wasn't really a module system, so to speak, like you would get in Node or Rust or like Ruby Gems or things like that, where you have version collections of packages. Now the new version, the new beta version of Go has modules, and it's built right into the language and the Go command tool, and it's pretty cool. It does all sorts of cool things, and basically what I was going to basically just demonstrate how it works from sort of like a high level day-to-day process. I have some links that I put together in a repo that I've been keeping for myself called GoRef. There's the first link is just sort of the main written out like high level description of basically what I'm going to show you today. There's a few more links in here that you might be interested in if you want to read more about this stuff. The getting information about modules I've found has been pretty difficult. There's a lot of blog posts and docs about it, and it doesn't really just describe this sort of straightforward workflow that you're going to use. And like even here, if you go to here's an interesting Go tip I found too. There's a website called tip.golang.org, which is it's a rebuild of the Golang documentation for the tip of the language. So all, like the nightly code releases and stuff are all up here. And so if you go there, you can sort of see the future of the docs coming down the pipeline. That was something I learned. But if you go there and you look at the topics, there's just all these little module documentations like highlighted throughout here. And someone in the Go Slack had helpfully like highlighted like where to start and like where some of the other details sprinkled throughout this whole pile of documentation is. So if you really want to dig in, this is where to go. So all right, so Go modules. Not going to compare it to the previous versions like of Go dependency management tools like Glide or Dep. As far as I can tell, this is the future of Go modules. It's happening despite the fact that there's a bunch of ways to do modules in Go at this point. So the way that looks is like, let's just go ahead and take a simple Go program. This is just, it's in a repo called My Cool Go App, and inside of it, we have this, it's a command line tool because it's a package main and has the function main. It just prints hi. So we can go ahead and run the Go beta. I've installed the Go beta as GB instead of Go. So GB is basically the beta version of Go on my system. So if you do GB run main.go, it runs as usual. And one interesting thing you'll note, if you look at my Go path, it's just my home folder /Go. But if you look at where I'm at in my file tree, we're not in Go modules. Or we're not in Go path, sorry. We're in a file called netlify Go modules my cool app. So that's really cool. So you no longer have to develop in Go path, which is fantastic. All of your programs aren't in sort of this weird kind of typically system-wide path that kind of shares space with other projects. You can put everything in their own little project and everything works out great. So let's go ahead and create our first dependency just as an example. So let's go, since Go uses it uses a URL imports for dependencies right inside of the code. So we can go ahead and create a new repo real quick. We'll call it dep1, or let's call it dep1. That's kind of a more Go-y file names, and we'll create that repository. We'll go ahead and clone it down, git clone. You guys see the size of this font, the text and everything okay? ls, okay, so dep, if we go into dep1, let's go ahead and touch like a you know, I don't really know the conventions when I go too much. Let's go ahead and call it like main.go, even though it's actually no, main is kind of reserved for binary tools or whatever, or binary commands. Let's just call it like dep1.go. And so inside, let's go ahead and open that up and add that to the workspace. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my little add folder. So we have our main.go, we have our dep1, has nothing in it. So let's go ahead and have one func called like data or something like that, and it'll return a string, and we'll return some data. Let's see. Oh. We have to give it a package name, of course. So we'll call this package dep1. Cool. So what we can do to turn this into a module inside of dep1 is we do let me check out my cheat sheet. I'm still learning this myself. So we want to do go mod and init, I believe. So but we want to use GB instead of go since. And so what this does is it creates a go.mod file inside of our inside of this module, essentially. And it's called module github.com/ballpit/dep1. Great. So even though we don't have any dependencies, like I believe it still works without this mod file. Like you can still depend on stuff. But this is kind of like setting it up for, you know, you're basically declaring this version 1 of the module and then giving it space to basically declare dependency versions, which we'll see in just a moment. So let's go ahead and commit all those. Git commit dash am. We'll call it well, actually, yeah, dash am init or something like that. And then so we go ahead and we have one command or one commit with our code in there. So let's go ahead and tag it. So this is going to make a release of our dependency. So it's all done through git tag. It's really interesting. So if you do git tag v1.0.0, you're required to have this v here, right? And then this is just a semantic version. And you can either start with 0 or 1. Version 1 of a Go module is it includes both version 0 and 1 into the same namespace. The meaning, like that, sort of the idea of meaning, like every change at version 0 is a breaking change potentially, and then once you hit version 1, you start getting these start meaning something. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and just call it version 1 since it's just some data and we're like ready to go. So we can go ahead and get push and get push tags. Cool, so we've written our first module. It's a function that returns some data. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and import github.com/ballpit/dep1. And Go's convention, right, is to sort of have the top level package name be the same as sort of the name of the repo. So we've done that, so we don't have to name this. This is going to complain because the editor tools haven't quite caught up to the modules yet. So there might be some weird linting stuff. So, but what we can do here, you guys still hear me? My mic just turned off. My headset just turned off on me. All right, cool. So, all right, so let's go ahead and print some data. So, print line dep1 dot data, and so now all we have to do is we can do gb run. Oh, we got to go back into the right folder. So cd my cool go app, and we do gb run main.go. Build. Oh, I see. I skipped the step. We have to init this as a package as well. So we have to do gb mod dash init and sync. So gb.init does the same thing here, right? It creates the Go mod file, and then sync goes and reads the code and syncs this file with the go.mod file. And so what it did is it went out and found that we are requiring this dependency, and it goes ahead and adds it to the go.mod file automatically at the latest version. And so now when we run this, it should work. So we can go ahead and, perfect. That's awesome. So that's really cool. What's interesting about that is that there's no, actually maybe that's not a valid point. I'm going to take that back. So I was going to say there was no dependency get step, but we just had to do that. Go gb mod sync, and it went ahead and downloaded stuff. So I'm still a little uncertain on how exactly that works. But they talked about trying to eliminate certain like steps that a lot of language package managers have. So all right, we're at 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and do this process again. We'll have two dependencies, and we'll show a couple properties about like nested dependencies, and then how breaking changes work, and then we'll be done. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly repeat that process. So let's go to create a new repo over here. Let's call this dep2 repository. So let's go out of the project. Let's clone down our fresh package. So let's go ahead and open dep2. Let's go ahead and add that to our workspace and cd into dep2. I'm going to touch dep2.go. And we'll also do go mod init. Cool. Actually, I'm going to do something a little funny here. I'm going to make a directory called sub package, and I'm going to move dep2 into sub package, just to sort of demonstrate and clarify, make some of these things more clear. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. Copy that here. Some different okay, and we'll call this dep. We'll call this sub pkg. Like, again, following the convention where the package name is the name of the folder. Okay. And let's go ahead and tag this as well, get status. So let's get commit am. Oops. Get. And we'll get tag v1.1.0, and then we'll do get push tags and get push. All right, so we just made our second module. This is a single sub package inside of a Git repo that's tagged with version 1.1.0 as well. So, so let's go back to our cool app and do something similar. So we'll do dep1. We'll call this dep2. Sub pkg. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake here, but we should be able to do this, and we'll do sub pkg. And let's go ahead and see if that runs. Do I have to? I'm still learning a little bit of the flows here, so we might run into errors. So gb, let's go back into my cool Go app, gb run main.go. It automatically goes and it finds the new package. It downloads it, and here we are. We have our dep1 data. We have our dep2 data from a sub package, and we just have our little hi here. So, all right, very cool. So we've made two packages. We've demonstrated how you publish them and how you add them. And we can just look at the go.mod file here. So let's see, ball pit indirect. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but there's interesting conventions in the sense that like this is the thing that's version, right? Not the sub package. So the sub package is an indirect, I guess, dependency of this. I'm not sure exactly. So still learning about these things. And then there's also the go.sum file. Whenever you do an install, it goes ahead and it caches the hash of the download that you used. And there's some interesting commands too that you can use, like go mod verify. And it will go ahead and make sure that none of like your system packages have been modified, since they are downloaded to a single location on your system. That location is go. I believe it's pkg and no cd source. It's in the mod. So it's in your go path source mod file. And so if you look in here, it's this is where all the modules get downloaded to and cached. So just so you know. Anyway, okay. So we've made two modules. We published them both. We depended on them here. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and have a submodule depend on. Let's go ahead and have one of our dependencies depend on the same module as the top level, which is kind of an interesting use case. So let's go ahead and do. So we'll go into dep1, and we're going to do import. And since I'm lazy at typing, let's go ahead and import this as well. So we'll import dep2 into dep1. It's like that. And we'll add another function called more data. Sub pkg dot data. Okay, so we'll go ahead and say this is like a new feature. So we'll go back into dep1 and get x. Oops. Whoopsies. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. So let's get diff. Let's see here. All right. So and we'll call this we'll just call this version 1.1.0 because it's like a new version, and then we'll tag it as well. The commit name, I'm just doing this out of convention. It's the tags that counts. The branch names and the commit names don't do anything. It's all about the tags. So we do get tag v1.1.0. All right, and then we can publish that by simply pushing the tags. Get push tags. Again, if you have any questions throughout any of this, like just shout them out. So let's go back to our main.go. And what do we call this again? We called this more data. Let's see here. Main.go. So let's go ahead and called it more data. Yeah, okay. So we go ahead and we just change our code as if we're using the new version, and let's see what happens. Let's just sort of show you what happens. So gb for go beta run. Actually, we gotta go back to our folder. So we gotta main.go. Subpackage.more data is not is undefined. So what we can do is we can do go get -u and go ahead and do that again. So by just running the go get on the package name again, it goes and finds the latest version within the major version. So anything when running the update command basically gives you anything. It's like the caret command from Node, right? So it updates these and won't go past version 1. So if we go try to run it again, oh, it didn't work. What do we do here? Oopsies. More subpackage.more data. Oh, it's because it's in dep1, not subpackage. That's right. There we go. All right, so there we go. So we got, we basically got, we depended upon package 1 and package 2, and package 1 also depends on package 2. No conflicts there. Very cool. They all happen to be using the same version because they're all like within the same like semantic version range in a compatible way, and we're using the latest. So even so okay. Now here's where things get fun. Let's go ahead and let's see. Dep1 depends on. Wait, hang on. Oh wow, we didn't. Interesting. We didn't. I wonder why that worked. Anyway, because we didn't actually update the go.mod file. So let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Cd dep1. Okay, and let's go ahead and get add -a get commit -m fix module bug. Okay, and then we'll get tag vir 1.1.1. They have some commands that are coming that are going to like automate some of this release process, but for now you have to do it all by hand. So git push and git push tags. Okay, while that's doing that, I'm going to go to dep2, and I made a decision in dep2 that maybe putting everything in a subpackage was it was a mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and move subpackage dep2 to here. I'm going to remove subpackage, and I'm going to rename this to dep2. Okay. So so this is like a bad module author who's changing things around and making exports weird. So, but I'm just trying to demonstrate a breaking change here. So, so if I do git x, or not git x, sorry, git status, I'm going to do git add -a, git commit breaking changes and -m, and then do git tag v2.do 0.0. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and we don't have any dependencies here, so we don't have to sync anything, but we do have to do this. Oh crap. Git tag dash. I messed up here. I have to, since this is a step that's easy to forget. So if you're doing a breaking change, you have to rename the module file to -v2. Right. So what this is called semantic version imports. So when you have a breaking change, you have to change the module, the import name. So inside your module file, you change basically your import path and just append the v2. You append the v2 path addition. I don't really know what they're calling this yet. So, but they do call this convention semantic version imports. So I'm almost done here. So package2 called dep2, or package called dep2 and module.github/ballpit/dep2/v2. Okay, so that looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and git commit dash. All right. Do we get it all? Yeah. So now we can tag it v2. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we go ahead and publish that. And let's go back to, let's go to my cool go.mod. Let's go ahead and update dep1 again, just to make sure we get the latest sort of module code that's supposed to be right. So we're going to go get okay, and that updated that to version 1.101. Oh, weird. Where did our redirect go? That's strange. Okay. All right. Maybe I'm kind of confusing myself here, but all right. Let's just carry on. So let's go ahead and change. Dep1 still depends on Dep2 at version 1. We're going to change the top level to upgrade to the latest version of Dep2. So we're going to go ahead and do v2, and that changes that changes the package name as well, because it's a breaking change. And we added the semantic version import here. So what we do then is we go mod sync, and that went out and found version 2, and it downloaded it. And if we look at our mod file, we should have both of those there. Perfect. Okay, very cool. So we should be able to run. Why is this mad at me? Dep2 is not a word. Okay, whatever. We'll do go run main.go. Does it work? It works. So if that makes sense, it's basically our app depends on a dependency that one of our other dependencies also depends on at a different breaking version. So we have a full nested dependency system set up here. Very cool. It's all based around URL imports, and it stores all of your module cache into a central system or user location, which is very cool. There was some confusion, like some people thought that you had to use branches called v2. Some people thought you had to use like folders in your repo called v2, and you can actually do that. There are links that sort of discuss those strategies. You can, let's see, breaking changes. I have some, there are some links here in this little article I wrote, like that talks about how you can do that. Where is it? Yeah, here. So like this is the path that we did, except using a branch. You can also use folders called v2 inside the same repo if you want. There's a lot of different ways to do breaking changes, but basically the sort of the common thing between it is that whenever you have a breaking change, you have to change the import name, which gives it this concept of semantic version imports. So that's pretty much it. That's the flow of Go modules. It's quite cool. I'm really excited for it. Does anyone have any questions? It's fairly straightforward once I went through it all myself, but just reading about all the different ideas and concepts that are built into it, I found that was really confusing exactly what the actual flow looked like. And so going through this weekend was really helpful to me, and hopefully was helpful to you as well. So yeah. Yeah, so that was yeah. So right, with the Open API, we're running an older version of the Go Swagger command line, and I actually asked about that. And so the idea is with the new version of Go, can you go get some program add a version into your Go path, right? And not yet, but the answer is yes, this must work essentially. So Go path isn't going away yet. Like you're still gonna have to set it up and add the Go path bin folder to your path if you want that feature. But um, uh, you know, uh, it's coming, I guess. So I don't know when. um, yeah. Any other questions? You just prefix it with what you want to call it. Yeah. So what's one of the things that kind of frustrates me about Go is like the convention is that the last segment of the import path is the name of the package, but that's not necessarily the case. Like even if it's not called dep1, we could call this like foo or something like that. It's not something you can totally just depend on, but it is very common to see that. So you can generally sort of take that as a first guess, and if it doesn't work, just give it a name. So yeah, that's a good question. So well, first of all dependencies are cached. So similar to and once they're downloaded at a version, it always uses the downloaded like the cached version on your system. Um, there is like built into this whole system is the concept of a module proxy, and I don't know if you can see this here, but like there is module proxy discussion going on here, um, and so if you go over to the Go Slack channel, there's a channel called Athens, and they're creating a project that's basically, I think the idea is it's going to be like a community-run module proxy that will basically like have immutable versions on it. Like once it goes out, like the person can't change the tag, um, they can't delete it forever, things like that. So I don't know exactly the plan there is, but it's going to involve a proxy of some sort. Yeah, that's also kind of a scary thing. But also at the same time, it's kind of cool that like you don't have to sign up for, another service like npm, and you don't have to depend on that like that company's policy and things like that. Like it is a very distributed system, and that tickles my nerd nerve. So any other questions? So anyway, I love this. This is like what I've wanted from Go since day one. So I'm really excited to see this. Um, the one thing other thing to note is this is not a lock file. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I asked them like if people like, is this a lock file? And someone was like, um, I don't know I don't know where they put it, but they're like, no, it's just caching the hash of the initial download for that project or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. So, alrighty. Thanks everyone. Hopefully that was interesting. Oh, so you can get it. So there's a thing called Vigo, and there's also the Go beta. Vigo is kind of stale at this point. So what you want to do is you want to go get the latest version of Go. You guys still see my screen, right? Yeah, so you want to go get Go.1.11 beta 2, and then run this command that downloads it. And then that basically puts it in your Go path, and then you can create a little symlink inside there to like symlink it to a different name, because I noticed that Go 1.11 seems to break. I'll show you. It seems to break Bash's autocomplete for some reason. So cool. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Go ahead and stop presenting and stop the recording.